Back in the T-Dot. What's happening? The 6.
How does it feel to be back?
Oh, it's awesome to be back. It's even better to be back now that the team is doing a terrific job, one of the top records in the league right now. I've always talked about how great the fans were here and how it's awesome to not only have a city or a state rooting for you, but actually have a country rooting for you. And you have to look no further than the progress of Toronto basketball than how the crowd showed up in Cleveland. Those "We the North" chants on LeBron James' home floor, and you get a win, that says a lot about where the team has come. My favorite memory, I guess I'm probably not proud of this memory, but I actually broke my hand at Golden State. I think it was the second quarter of the game, and I just remember coming to the sideline telling the fellas, if you pass me the ball, you got to throw it on the right side or lob it. Like, I think I broke my hand. And to finish that game, we won the game, and then I flew back to Toronto, had surgery on my hand, and I got a plate and 5 screws in my hand, still to remind me of it every day. So my bionic hand, it happened playing for the Raptors. Well, the way he was overcome by emotion and the way he shed a couple of tears, that's how I felt when we traded him for Aaron and Eric Williams and Alonzo Mourning, who never was deciding to make the trip. And so to see both sides repair that relationship, he's the greatest Raptor in team history, and they're awesome fans here. And as a player that's been traded before, I know that when things get out to the public, like where your mom's parking, that means somebody in the front office is clearly leaking information to try to make you look bad and make the transition easier when they move a great player like him. So both sides deserve that, and I was happy to see it. Knowledgeable fans, the organization has come a long way, and eventually it's time to let it go. Any negative energy or negative feelings, he was Air Canada while he was here. And so to see him become a future Hall of Famer, and I'm pretty sure when he goes into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be as a Toronto Raptor. So it's only right for that relationship to be repaired. Nav on the baseline. I'm pretty sure he's still sitting on the baseline these days. And, you know, the Raptor fans were always awesome to me. And I was here at an interesting time because the organization had just been around less than 10 years at that point. And a lot of people were still talking about how is it to play in Toronto? Like, it was such a big adjustment. I'm like, it gets cold in Michigan, too. Like, what do you mean it's not a big deal? And so to have a country rooting for you and behind you, it really meant something for me. And frankly, I like spending half of my time outside of the U.S., so it was great. Absolutely, and it helps a lot when Drake is the ambassador of the team. He helps with the cool factor. There's nothing like winning. That really helps. And to see both situations, the team have the best record, and see now Drake be, the top lyricist in the game. I remember going to watch him perform at a couple of spots here downtown when he was still trying to make his way. So it's only right that both are really successful right now. I think the thing that people underestimated about Vince is that he was really a genuine, nice person. And a lot of people said we want him to have the killer instinct of Kobe Bryant, or we want him to have the fire or the attitude of another player. But he was such a great player and so very talented, long arms, big hands, could shoot the three. You guys know about the way he was a high-flying act. I mean, this guy could walk into practice and do a reverse 360 eating a sandwich. I'm serious. I've seen him do it. He's eating breakfast. I'm like, let me see you do it right now. And he would do it. And so when you have a guy like that on your team, he became a transcendent player in Toronto. He was the leading vote getter in the All-Star game. And so I really appreciate the fact that he continued to work on his game and he has longevity. And longevity allowed the other night to happen. Because if he wasn't still in the league, who knows how that would have played out. Yes, I don't know why Sam acted like I was not telling the truth. What am I going to lie for? I was standing right there. And it wasn't a slam, but he threw him down.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when you're in the coach in the training room thinking you're the old school tough guy and you're going to show Vince what it takes to be mean and rough, get put on your back. They weren't fighting. You see, see how he missed his words there? And again, I really like Sam. I wasn't trying to cause anything in any way, shape, or form, but I'm a straight shooter, and the topic came up, and that did happen. Ask him, did he end up on his back from a player? Okay. That's never happened to Rick Carlisle. I really got lucky because I was doing it while I was playing. Communications was my major in college. So I always was trying to hone my craft and continue to work in the playoffs and work the NBA Finals while I was a player. So from 2000, I was playing in the 2000 finals. I was covering the 2002 finals for BET Mad Sports. I just pitched them my idea, told them to send the camera, told them I'd cut it and spice it. Then I pitched that the next year to the Best Damn Sports Show. And I was basically working, moonlighting with Turner, ABC, and a couple of networks until 2007. And then I went full-time with ESPN at that point. I'm happy to see the growth that Canada in particular and Toronto area has had in basketball. Wiggins came up early, being the #1 pick. Anthony Bennett. I played with Steve Nash, who's a 2-time MVP. So it's not a novelty anymore. Like for a lot of people to feel, can they really play ball in Toronto? Like I remember being in 8th grade. I came over here with Michigan AAU, and I was rebounding, and that was the only way they was gonna keep me around. I was the ball boy, so run and get the Gatorades, rebound for the team. And I remember standing on the baseline, and we had some great players on our team: Derek Coleman, Steve Smith, a lot of notables. But I was looking at the other end, watching the Toronto players warm up, and it was between the legs, 360. I'm like, you guys are going to get killed. That's what I told them, and they were telling me, well, if they beat us, then you're going to stay here with them. So fortunately, it was a good game, and Michigan won, but I knew at that time that Toronto was on the rise. I think people get the message now. You don't hear the mumbling and the groaning about players re-signing here. You just got Lou Williams to sign, Kyle Lowry re-signed, DeMar's on his 2nd contract, Amir's been here for a long time. I think that novelty is over as it relates to winning. And when you follow winning in the NBA, it always starts from the top down. And I appreciate what Tim Lewicki has done with the franchise, creating a culture, bringing in Masai, who undid a lot of moves in the past that probably weren't the best moves. And so now the city has a team they can really be proud of. Well, it existed, but we took pride to try to change it. But drafting Rafael Araujo didn't help. We needed a couple of players that could contribute with that old team. So again, it starts with the moves that teams make. And we weren't really adding to that team like I felt like we could. I mean, what did we trade Vince for? And so when that ends up happening, it's hard to truly have success.